not commit. There was no crime that you committed, but you did mention that you were being profiled and you were being neutralized. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
From the point of being detained, I kept on asking, can you please tell me what it is that I have done? Can you please give me dates, times, places, names, and allegations of what I'm supposed to have done to you for which you're doing this to me? And they couldn't, of course. I asked for a polygraph test. I asked for legal representation. I asked for the charges to be brought forth, and I'd said that if I've committed a crime, I'm more than happy to go to prison for it, because I believe in the rule of law. However, none of that was ever produced to me. It was clear from the moment that they said that you are an enemy combatant, that you have no rights. I remember when I was taken first into the detention center in Kandahar and in Bagram, they shouted that you are now the property of the United States of America and you have no rights. So that was clear to me that we are an entirely new category. I was familiar with the Geneva Conventions, and so I think were the American soldiers, and they were confused. In the initial stages of our incarceration, they handed out to us EPW cards, and this is Enemy Prisoner of War card. That card remained with us for about a week until somebody recognized that this status offers them a classification of which allows them human rights. So they removed these cards from us. We weren't prisoners of war. We were enemy combatants, and enemy combatants, by the definitions of the US military at the time, does not have any rights, does not have any legal rights, does not get treated in the way that an American soldier would wish to get treated if he was captured in war. So we were a new entity. We were not non-combatants. We were not prisoners of war. We were not civilians. We were enemy combatants.
Lastly, Mr. Begg, you did say that you signed a false confession. Did the treatment of you change at all after signing that confession?
The physical and adversarial treatment changed to a great degree. It was less forceful, it was less intense, and it was less in volume also. So yes, clearly this is what they were looking for, and having spoken to several people in the past and since my campaigning days, particularly on Guantanamo, I have seen that the treatment has been similar. Whoever has, quote unquote, broken to that point or been prepared to go through that system has had it less adversarial.
Mr. Begg, would you like to add anything further before we conclude?
I'd only like to say to the Commission that seeking justice has been something that everybody wants. If you were to ask the majority of the people in Guantanamo or the secret prisons, do they agree with terrorism, the answer would be no. If you were to ask them, do they agree with the right of self-determination and defense against occupation, the answer will be yes. And that is a normal human being. If you were to kick a dog in its face, it would bite you back. The thing that we have been trying to ask for and still fighting for, in the United Kingdom, I have a case against British intelligence for complicity and torture against one of its own citizens. Clearly what was done to us was not only illegal, it was immoral. It's more than the law. It goes way beyond what is technically right and technically wrong. This is about what's morally right and morally wrong. And what was done to us was immoral and duplicitous. And the fact that the world's most powerful nations have banded together to fight individuals like myself and others, for me, places like the Commission are the only places at present where we can try to find a semblance of justice. So if justice is not done from here, then I don't know where it's going to be done from.
Thank you, Mr. Begg. Honourable members of the Commission, would you have any questions for the witness?
Thank you, Mr. Begg. Can you just remain at the rostrum? There are some members of the Commission who may wish to seek clarifications from you. I would like to invite those members to now, if they wish. I would try to limit your questions to the most minimal as possible, because we think there are 6 more witnesses who are going to testify. So I will invite who wishes to start first. Yes, Mr. Dennis Halliday.
Mr. Begg, I cannot find words to comment properly on your experience. And I know you'll understand that I'm setting aside my sense of horror, disgust, sympathy. Although as you know, I hold you in great respect, with great respect. But my question is, you mentioned Pakistan, American and British authorities being involved in your kidnapping, transportation, maltreatment, interrogation and so on. And I know you were drugged on your flight from, I guess, Bagram to Cuba.
No, yes.
Do you have any idea, did your aircraft land in any other country? My question is are there any other states complicit in your experience?
It's difficult to know whether it did land in any other country. I have, since my investigations independently of this, looked at the flight log of my own aircraft and seen that it did land in Incirlik in Turkey, at the US military base there. And that's something I've learned subsequently, but I didn't know it at the time.
As far as you know, no other landing took place?
I'm not aware of that. No.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Moazenbeg, needless to say, as a Commission member, I'm extremely grateful for the evidence that you have presented. I would like to know whether at any time during this painful 3-year period of detention, whether you could cite parties that could corroborate what you have so movingly told us.
Yes, very easily. I have been in communication with American soldiers, interrogators, as well as former prisoners who have in detail given testimony about what they have done. Their testimony is available very clearly. One of those testimonies is available in the film called Taxi to the Dark Side, where not only I am speaking about the testimony, but my testimony is corroborated by American soldiers, interrogators, and other military officials.
May I ask a supplementary question? Do you think that you could identify a list of such persons whom one could possibly contact in trying to establish a network of evidence between you and fellow prisoners and others who may have had anything to do with your confinement?
Certainly, and even here, right where we are now, there are people who are held in Kandahar and in Bagram who can easily corroborate what I've said. But also, I'm more than happy to provide a list of further people.
Thank you.
As you have acknowledged in your various statements, it would appear that those who were deported to Guantanamo were not so-called enemy combatants, but civilians involved in various activities, humanitarian, religious, and otherwise. It is my understanding from a report of Seymour Hersh, which was published shortly after the invasion, that the real enemy combatants were evacuated in US and Pakistani military planes to northwest Pakistan, several thousand in his account, and I believe that that was corroborated by other reports, and that as a result of this evacuation of the real fighters involved in the resistance to US Allied invasion, the occupation forces then initiated a process, both, but not necessarily in Afghanistan, but in various other countries, to kidnap civilians and then take them to